Hello, everyone, and welcome to Royalty, a Guelph Royals podcast where you get the opportunity to get to know our roster and everything happening with the team. I'm Teresa Skubik alongside my co-host Ryan Eakin, and today we're going to discuss the week that's coming up and some big signings. Plus, obviously, we're going to bring on a special guest. But first, let's talk about the upcoming week. Guelph plays Barrie tonight, London on Saturday, and then they head to Kitchener on Sunday. Ryan, what should we expect this week?
Yeah, it's a big week, as you mentioned. It's three games, so a pretty busy week too, and not easy games. The Bay Cats right now are perhaps the best team in the league outside the Jackfish. Right now, they have the second longest winning streak in the league, so that's not going to be an easy game. And then London on Saturday is a big one because if you're Guelph, you want to go up the standings, and to do that, you have to beat a team like London, who is one spot ahead of them in the standings. So that's a big game. And then obviously Sunday, facing Kitchener, their biggest rival. That was always a fun game and an entertaining game. And the Panthers beat them up last time, so Guelph definitely wants to get some payback. So it's going to be an interesting week because we're getting closer to the deadline. As you said, we made some moves too. So it's going to be an interesting week coming up.
Well, definitely a bit of a struggle at the start of the season, but I'm sure now that Guelph has a couple games under their belt, we will start to see a new narrative and it's only up from here. But we had lots of signings that happened in the last couple weeks. How big of an impact do you think that these new players are going to have on the team?
Yeah, they're going to make a big impact, and some of them you've seen have already done so. I mean, you look at Tony Hirinku, who I think is the best defensive catcher in this league. He played with the Bay Cats a few seasons back when he was a college guy, and now he's full time, and he's expected to make a massive impact offensively, but especially defensively. I mean, you can't. You look at other championship teams in the past, you can't win a championship in this league without a top catcher, and I think he can be. Kyle Kush comes back from the team after a few seasons with the team, and he's finally done school now. He was at a D1 in Canisius. He can play all over the infield, and I mean he's batting over 400 right now. He's been absolutely outstanding since coming back to the Guelph lineup. And then Chris Robinson, he's a big name. He was on Guelph a few seasons back. Ended up playing for Team Canada and some different events. He played professionally out in Winnipeg, so he's a big bat too. Can play the outfield, can play third base, can even play some catcher. So Dino Romel's starting to fill out that roster. It's going to get even busier in the next coming weeks. There's going to be lots of exciting signings coming up, some big names, but for right now, it's a great beginning in terms of turning this roster over a bit after a tough start to the season.
Absolutely, definitely adding some key pieces and some big players that we definitely needed. And I'm sure that, like I said earlier, it's only going to be up for here. But we're now joined by a special guest, Justin Interisano, who has quite the resume. Hey, Justin, welcome to Royalty. We are super excited to have you. And Ryan, I'm going to get you to give us a little bit of a breakdown on how awesome he is.
Yeah, Justin's been one of the faces of Guelph for the last 10 or so seasons. Obviously, he had some time with the Panthers in between when Guelph was making some changes, but not many guys as beloved in Guelph with the Royals as Justin is. One of the biggest pieces on the team and one of the bigger names in this league. I mean, from the left side, he's one of the best bats in this league, always a home run threat. Can play some first base. He used to even be a catcher at one point. So definitely a big name in this league.
Well, like I said, Justin, we are super excited to have you, but we've been talking too much. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good today, for a Monday at least. Long day at work, but now we're here and finally been able to get this podcast going. I know me and Ryan have been talking for a couple of months before the off season, trying to get me on here, and schedules just never worked out. But now that the season's underway, we finally found a free night.
Well, we're super happy that it's finally happening, and hopefully you can answer all of our questions because I'm sure you've seen your teammates have been struggling quite a bit. But we're going to start with some baseball, then we're going to obviously get into the fun stuff. So what made you want to get into baseball and how long have you been playing?
So what got me into baseball is kind of by accident, actually. So I had moved from Guelph when I was 7 years old, and the first sport that just popped up on like the community kind of bulletin board was just baseball itself. So I said, you know what? I moved here in September. I'm not athletic enough to really do soccer as a fat young kid or basketball. So let's just wait till, baseball rolls around and realize that, see what that's all about. Nobody on my side of the family either was even that much into baseball. My dad was a soccer and basketball guy growing up. And my mom was a volleyball athlete. So baseball kind of fell into my lap. But I've been playing since I was 8 years old. Had many, many memories growing up with it and just truly fell in love with the game pretty much right away as soon as I started playing.
So you said that you have a lot of memories from back in the day. What's been your favorite memory playing baseball?
Ooh, in the IBL or in general?
Let's do an IBL one, and then if you have one from back in the day, you can add that one in too.
Okay, so I'll do the one that's not the IBL. The best baseball memory that this game has ever given me was actually my 5th year of university, where it was my final year with the Guelph Griffins, but it was my brother's first year with the Guelph Griffins, and that was the only time me and him have been on the same team, wearing the same uniform. So that for me will forever be my favorite baseball memory. Nothing will top that. No championship will top that. It's one of those things that the stars had to line up a bit for me, doing an extra year of high school, going back for a 5th year of university, for that all to line up kind of thing. So that for me is the absolute pinnacle of what baseball has given me, and allowed that opportunity for that.
That's so amazing. That's amazing. I have 5 siblings, and I was always like so envious of people that got to like play sports with like their brother or their sister. It's like I always wanted the opportunity to do that. And you like explaining it, it's so true. Like there's nothing better than getting to like stand alongside like a brother or a sister and be like, we're doing this right now. Same jersey. It's amazing.
It was really cool for me too. And it was, again, one of those things where I was on my way out. He was in his first year. He got to see kind of like what the growth of what I went through himself in the years following, and just what it meant to put on just a Guelph Griffin uniform, or any university varsity athlete uniform for that matter. It's a pretty special thing to have. So for me and him to have that 1 year, even though the OUA season, as Ryan knows, is only about a month and a half at best, but it's still a really cool experience to have. And I know for my parents, it was one of the best things that they could do, just go to the ballpark and see both their kids just in the same dugout doing the same thing that they both love.
That's awesome. You were going to your IBL one. Go ahead.
So in terms of IBL experience, been in the league so long, it's so hard to pick one. And I want to pick a Guelph one, because even in Kitchener for 2 years, that was pretty cool. Like making a finals, like with Kitchener, was pretty fun, even though Barry smacked us across the field in 4 straight games, which was fun, but not really.
It was fun. It was fun.
Yeah, for you. I'm trying to think. Well, there was one particular game, if I'm going to be just nitpicking here, is it was a game against Burlington back, I think it was 2014. It was my best game ever in the IBL. I was 5 for 6, 6 RBIs, and I was a double away from the cycle. So from a strictly game performance standpoint, that's probably the one that sticks out the most. Yeah, I think I got to go with that one, because there's not many ones that stick out in terms of like just awesome memories and that sort of thing. Like I've had so many, but the one that pops is probably that one from an individual standpoint.
I have to just quickly follow up. Sorry, Teresa, but how did he get a triple at any point, Justin?
The center fielder ran into the wall and didn't get up in time, and allowed me the most time that a man my size needs to get a triple.
That happens in Burlington a lot. Those some stats padding lights back in the day in Burlington, I guess, right? So
they had decent pitching back in the day. It's just one of those nights where I guess everything was just clicking for me, including being able to run that far and not be thrown out.
Athlete.
Yes. See, you get it, Ryan.
Okay, we are going to veer away from baseball talk for a little bit, and I would love to get to know you. So, if you were to eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be and why?
Oh, this one's easy for me. This is spaghetti and meatballs, my dad's homemade meat pasta sauce with his homemade meatballs as well. I have told this to several people over the course of my time, that if I was on death row and that was my last meal, that is my last meal. There is hands down no beating homemade tomato sauce from an authentic Italian man with his homemade meatballs as well. There's just no topping it.
That's the best answer we've had on this podcast. That's easily going to be the best one we have for the rest of the time. Like we don't even have to do another one after this, but now. So if you could pick one
we're also hoping that we're going to get to try this spaghetti and meatballs. You've hyped it up so much that if
I have offered it to a few teammates in the past, and they all have nothing but good things to say about it. So I'm hoping I can get more people into this, because quite frankly, it is the best thing you're ever going to take.
If we come down to Guelph for a game, I'm expecting some spaghetti and meatballs to be awaiting me.
See, that's a question you got to take up with my dad, though, not me. I'm just the one inviting people. He makes the call.
Me his contact, and we'll make it happen. Trust me.
We're the typical Italian. It's doors open, come on in. We'll make enough for people, more than enough.
Love it. If you could pick one superpower to have, what would it be and why?
Oh, I was hoping you wouldn't ask me this one, because this one's tough, but I've seen other people guess. probably predict the future because I would like to know those lotto numbers before they come out every Friday. That would be fun.
That would change some
It
things,
would
right?
really
Yeah.
help make life a lot easier, I think. So
Yeah, I got you. I got you. And when it comes to your favorite karaoke song, if you had to sing a karaoke song, what would it be? And like maybe why, but maybe you don't have to give a why on this one.
Don't Stop Believing by Journey. That is my go-to karaoke song. It is, to me, it's the best one. Like it gets the whole, like obviously karaoke songs are meant to get the whole place rocking, but that for me, like when you hear those first few notes, it's like, yeah, party's on.
I know I'm not supposed to say this, but so far I think you might have been the best guest we've had. Like your answers, I'm just loving them so far.
You're giving me the right questions too, because there ones that just pop into my head instantly.
Amazing. So what emoji do you use the most?
Oh, probably the laugh crying one. Yeah, I put that basically on almost every other text message I send to people, just to make sure they know that I'm being sarcastic while trying to say something a little bit serious at the same time. Like, LOL, cry face, that sort of thing.
Yeah, for sure. It's relatable.
Yes.
If you could make one rule that everyone had to follow, what would it be and why?
Ooh. In life, one rule?
Yeah, anything. Life,
Ooh.
baseball, whatever you want to do.
Oh, in baseball? Well, if I was still a catcher, I would love the 2-out catcher designate rule. That would be fun to have back. But I'm not a catcher anymore. Even the first baseman one, that would be fun to have kind of too. One rule to follow in life. I'd say you have to do at least one good deed a week. I think everybody should have to do something nice or something contributed to society at least once a week. Um, the news these days is just way too depressing to watch. So I think if everybody did one nice thing a week, at least it would go that far to probably making the world a better place. So I'd say that.
Yeah, that's a nice approach. I always try the one nice thing a day thing, but sometimes it's too forced, right? And then it's like, well, you're just saying that or doing that to be nice. So
I
it doesn't
think
have
it's
the
a
same
lot easier to
effects.
give people 7 days to do one nice thing. I don't think it's that hard to do.
Yes. One day a week might be too much, or one like time a day might be too
Yeah.
much. But yeah, I think one time a week we can make that work. I think. I hope.
I think it's reasonable.
Yes, yes. So this one you can't say Garten. I'm sure you've seen the other podcasts, and everyone
Here we
says
go.
Garten one way or another. So if you were stuck on a deserted island with one teammate, who would you pick and why?
It's not Garten to begin with, but my
Okay,
answer would have been J Mac, Jeff McLeod. There's something about him just screams being able to survive on an island, like not only survive but also thrive. I mean, I heard him on this last podcast, and you guys heard it too. The man can fish like there's no other tomorrow. So at least he'll be able to make something work with what's on that island, and you're gonna, even if fish isn't your thing, you're gonna be satisfied. Now there probably come to a point where I would annoy the crap out of him, and he'd probably do the same thing to me as he wants to do to Ben Reed a little bit. But I feel like on a desert island, McLeod would be the guy to, be the right hand man.
So I do want to ask you now, though, if you were stuck on a desert island, is there one teammate that you definitely would not want to be stuck with, and it'd just be absolutely awful for you?
I don't like throwing teammates under the bus. That's not fun.
It's got to be some old guy that's been a long time teammate. Like, you can't throw someone under the bus that's in
A
their first
long
season, I
time
guess,
teammate.
right? Yeah.
Well, if he ever signed, I would say Sean Riley because
Yeah.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I don't hate. That's the thing. There's not really people that I can't tolerate that I've had teammates with. Like, I don't want to default and just say a name and just be like having to deal with that in the room come tomorrow night or whenever this is posted next game. Yeah, I don't know.
All right, you're too nice to answer that one because some guys were throwing guys under the bus super quick.
Yeah, I don't like
Ben
throwing
Reed
guys under the bus. I really don't. At least not where multiple people are going to hear my answer. I'll do it when there's 20 guys in the room and they'll hear it, but
that's why you have the respect you have across the league over the last decade, right? Just super nice guy, not throwing anyone under the bus, but
I just try to have fun.
And if anyone does give an answer, though, I like if anyone does ask me what your answer was, I will say it was Sean Riley because why not?
That's fine. You know what? That's fine. I can deal with that.
I don't know if you can. I mean, I don't know if anyone can deal with a pissed off Sean Riley, but
he's a teddy bear.
I believe it. I believe it. When it comes to the coolest fact about you, what is it?
Ooh,
this is the one that stumps people.
Yeah, cool fact. Ugh. I'm a pretty good bowler. I would say that. I don't know if many people know that about me. I used to be I was a junior champion when I was 11, 12 years old. So I don't know if many people know that about me. But if there was like a tangent to like the sport area of me that like nobody would think of, I'd say that. Like, and I still go whenever I can just for fun stuff out with friends and whatnot. And I can still get it up there. Like my high score was like a 220 at one point when I was a junior. So I would say that.
That is definitely a cool fact for sure. But lastly, who is your hero and why?
Oh, my parents for sure. I mean, um, there's no amount of right words I can say of what they've done for me, not just in my baseball life, but my life in general. And for them to put up with me as long as they have, but that too. But the amount of sacrifices they've just made over years for not just me, but my brother as well. It's incredible. They're role models in every way. They're fun to be around, and it's just I know I had nothing to do with it, but I hit the lottery when it comes to parents. There's no question about that.
Thank you so much for sharing everything with us today. We want you to know that Guelph definitely hit the lottery with you. And it was just awesome to really get to know you. And we look forward to watching you play the rest of the season. For Ryan Eakin, I'm Teresa Skubik, and this has been Royalty.